Yeah, let me wrap my head around it. So we have y to move, and I want to find parents where black is to move, obviously. That are made in ply +1. I think I need to run over all the parents of this. No. Huh? Yes. It got set here to 1. Y to move parents. And then I need to call on that. Hi, I'm on. Welcome back. Yeah, I'm okay. I wrote again a description of what I'm doing below the video. Description of this video. So I want to visit all the parents, or why does the move, I guess. No, it must be black to move. Yeah, okay, sorry. These are the what? Why to move data? Why is this black? Oh, the parent positions. Yeah. I run over the parent positions of the current position. Or what is to move? The parent position then there is a black to move, and then I need to tell those black to move positions that this child is made in apply. So that is this value, right? This is the child. This is the parents of this thing. So this of the parents that this is the child, and that head that is made imply. And that then must append to the vector black to move, which I do the same way as up here, I guess. I just pass it. I have a feeling that using the word minimum should work somehow here. So I could pass apply +1. And then the parent must be set to apply +1 if it is the last one. And since we get an incrementing thing, it's like the minimum. Yeah, I'm just gonna use the same word, but the same function name, but then use the word minimum. that should work. Yeah, I have to implement this still. The rest should compile. What is this? Return the value of type const vector or black to move to function on return type, y to move. Oh. Oh, yeah. Huh? Yeah, there's also black to move. Okay, I'll make it black. No while conversion from return the value of black to move to function on return type. I think the problem here is the const and here's the non-const. What is this? Yeah, parent is simply iterators. So the no member named empty in standard vector blah blah. Did you mean empty? Yeah, I just got a T there. Finally we arrive at, well, not actually, but the last error. If I add a semicolon there. Yep, now it's the last error. So I need to add an set minimum apply on parents to black to move data. What? Black to move data already has a set maximum apply on parents. Why would I add a minimum then here? It can't be right. Oh, wait a minute. This runs over parents and then does that. So yeah, if I want to, I probably should add something to white to move data, indeed, which is then implementing what I currently have in int.cs.cxx. And just like I did above, so really, you can call this, but you can also make this a member function. So this thing runs over all parents of that thing. Black to move, run over the parents. So you have white to move. And then I could do it's not that simple. Actually it is. I think it just has to be this. It is more like the grammar, just, you know, here is maximum, so there it must be minimum, and here's black, so there it must be white. Then understanding how the program works, which is kind of funny. But I think this is correct. This is the correct way to do it. And then now this is obviously part of white to move data. Let me add that first. It's very similar to the black to move data thing. So we copy this, go back, and then we go to white to move. What the hell? What is this set maximum apply on parents doing in Y to move suddenly? Y to move has set maximum apply. Yeah, what? Where did I just add it then? Thought I copied it from black. Now let's do here in white. At maximum. Oh, I've got to rename this thing. Arg. Which one is new? Oh no. I'm gonna back out because I just have no clue anymore. Already saved. Impossible. Okay, this one is new. Must be black then, and this must be minimum. And I want to go to, yeah, this is Y to move. So it can impossibly be in Y to move data. And I switch, and it's here. How can that ever have compiled then? What? I'm so confused. parent. Yeah. Makes no sense. It's part of black to move data. Here it is. This is the function that I know about. I think while I slept, someone edited my file and added. Oh, I'm just kidding. This one. I mean, okay, it's there, but how can this ever have been? Oh, wait a minute. There was something there. Oh, yeah. Okay, never mind. I did remove it. So this function already exists. What the hell is that doing then? I'm gonna comment it out. See if it is even called. No member named set minimum apply on parents in black to move data. Yeah, this is also black to move. Oh, wait a minute. This must be copied. So I left it in so I can copy it later. But it doesn't need to compile here. Right, okay. So now we are calling on y to move data, this function, and that should be doing this pattern. Set minimum on parents. Let's compare that with black to move. Applies and the current ply. don't have to apply in here. So this function is only allowed to be called once this is already set in the child that is this thing actually, because this is the child of the parent of this thing. And then this must correspond to, so this must correspond to a board that has the number of ply set, or the mate and move set. At the moment I call set minimum ply on parents on it. Okay, it has ply set. This, I mean, ply is not -1. So that happened here, or here. the variable names are wrong. But let's first test if it works. Still have to write this one. Hallo, u had een pun. Dat is described in the description below the video. I can just return that value, I guess. I'm not really using ply here. Why not? So we have a position where white is to move. This is the value that we must set on a parent, potentially. So we run over all the parents, and then I find if it already has ply set. If it already has ply set, that means that it should mean that all the children were already processed, and which means that we should not have come here. You don't want to come here twice. So I think I just have to add an assert that ply equals -1, and then we won't use it, right? Not using ply. Which language? C++, when did I start C++? I think, well, more than 30 years. Just, yeah. No. That's really... People keep asking that as if there is some kind of a miracle to it, trick to it, but it's not. It just... well, actually, yeah, well, no. I mean, don't die and keep programming, and then you'll have, in the end, 30 years experience. But if the actual question is how to get good at it, then yeah, it's like with everything. It's just hard work. Loads and loads and loads of time put loads and loads of time and hard work into it. It's not like I didn't study computer science. I hardly read any book. I picked most things up from the internet, a lot of things from IRC, I must say. Just hanging around in IRC, C++ channels and in on Discord these days. I'm not really reading it anymore that much, but in the beginning you can learn a lot from that. As a real beginner, I think you might actually be able to learn something from an AI. But please see an AI as a something that can summarize what is already on the internet, not something that has an understanding of anything or can reason or so. It's as stupid as can be. So if you have a certain question, the best forum is always Stack Overflow. But if it is on Stack Overflow, you can also ask an AI, and it will probably know how to answer it in the same way as the answer is already on Stack Overflow. But that's something else than saying, please write a program that does this or that, because that's way too specific. That, of course, is not already answered on Stack Overflow, and then the AI will just fuck up. And as a beginner, you won't know that, because it always sounds very self-secure, like this is the answer, and this is absolutely the correct answer. While I just gave you a heap of nonsense. And it's also very bad in writing optimized code and stuff. So you even if it works, I mean, it's still bad code, basically, often. How can I test the last code that I wrote? Because it runs, but doesn't print anything. Doesn't crash. Despite all the asserts that I have, it's a good sign. Yeah, this should categorize absolutely everything, really. Should. Let's at the very least print a number of ply at the end. That's interesting. So we have all the positions that are made in 0, that are already made, and then we set the 1 on all the positions that are made in 1 ply, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, and it continues to do so until there is no more thing to run over. I don't want to do this though if that is empty. So we're done already. So now at the end, ply equals to something that was actually added, rather, well, we add ply plus 1, and then we increment it, and then we exit. So ply is the last, is the highest ply possible on that board of this size. For 5 by 5, I have no clue how large it is actually. No. 25, well, could be. It's a bit of a high though. I thought the highest was like 20. Yep, the next step is that we will be able to verify it, which I already had code for. I have 2 blocks of code that are commented out. Which one is it that I need? I think the last one. What is this thing doing? Oh yeah, this allows me to do moves. You can ask a question. You are disturbing me, but you can ask questions. In the beginning, I tried AI almost every day. I've done that since years, 2 years. So how long is AI already there? But yeah, by now I'm convinced that it's just a hype. It's useless. So the only questions I ask now are very simple things that I'm just too lazy to look up the main page for. Pure knowledge things. Don't ask an AI anything for which it needs to do reasoning. It doesn't work at all. Could try to get this to work again. I can show you what I asked, the last question that I asked. Let's see. I have something else about Tor. Thought this, oh, never mind then. This is Grok. Oh, I closed DeepSeek because I didn't load anymore, and I accidentally left Gemini, apparently. Must have been one of these. Jet, I guess this is Gemini. Yeah. Do we have a history here? We've been using more or less 3 AIs in parallel, sometimes switching. So I ask a relatively simple question to write a program that was so simple that I thought, hey, the AI can do that, and it could. What skills? As a C++ programmer, I suppose. Yeah. I am inclined to say understanding how what AIs can and cannot give you. To if you would want to have a job and your boss thinks AIs are great, then you just have to say that you're using them. But you still have to produce good code, so you shouldn't waste all your time by asking questions to AI and then deliver a really bad code. So I think it is a necessary skill these days, unfortunately, to use AI for programming, and then learn as fast as possible what kind of shit it gives and under what circumstances. Or you can be lucky and have a knowledgeable boss who says, "Don't use AI for my company." That is definitely a possibility. But the hype is still so big that you probably need to know how bad they are or how to use them. I'll phrase it. How to not use them. And before AI, debugging. Know how to debug your code. In other words, use my debugging library. Nothing you write will work. And the best way to find out why that is the case is by having an incredible amount of debug output and asserts with good comments. Every assert must have a comment. So yes, I didn't add a comment here, which is absolutely a deadly sin. But this is also, I don't consider this a real program. I'm really just playing. All long-term projects take more serious than this one. I wouldn't think of adding an assert without a long explanation in the comment. Why the assert is there and what is probably wrong if it fails and so on. And then of course a lot of debug output. But yeah, that's just my opinion. So if I write code, then every class that I write can be written to an O-string. So everything is a class, and then if I call a function with 5 arguments, and those 5 arguments are 5 classes, and then I can just write all of them to the O-stream. So I can just do we are calling function this name, parenthesis open, write the first argument, write the comma, write the next argument, and so on. That takes unfortunately some time. You have to really add that the debug code for every. For example, my board here has print on, which is the one that can print to an O-stream, and I had to write that. It doesn't come by itself. In this case, we only have 3 pieces, so the debug output doesn't have new lines. Everything must be on one line. I just print every member. So the board has 3 members: black king, and white rook. And whatever the type is, I can print them. So that's how I print it. But if you have to do that for every class, then sometimes it gets a bit tiring. Yeah. Or at least it's a lot of work. That can get boring. Okay, now let me think. This. Okay, I think, this is not much different from before, except that it probably doesn't compile. But now I can add in how many ply every position is made. Made in something. I'll add ply. How many ply? Ether seconds is the data. Dot ply, I suppose. I mean, I'm not even convinced that it works, but yeah, it does not compile. Oh, right. Oh shit, yeah. There's a definite problem here. I had a nice loop, but now my types are alternating between white and black. So I would have to just duplicate this, so unroll the loop factor of 2. And then change the types. But I hate code duplication. So I would rather just keep this block of code just once. But then how do I alternate the types? Because the types are simply different, period. It's just what. And I can't use auto because then it just, I don't know, it can't work, of course. The compiler fills in auto, but that only one type is being filled in and compiled, and yeah. Well, this is different every loop, and the main problem is that ether itself changes by setting it here. So if ether has a certain type, then this won't compile anymore. So ether must be able to be one or another type. I could use a that's your daily routine as a developer. What do you really want to know? What I eat, or I have the most unhealthy Well, that's not entirely true. But you don't want to live like me. Talking about, I have water here on my desk, so I can drink water, and then I'm too lazy to fill it up. Nothing comes out anymore. Okay, now I'll get new water. Be right back. I won't even answer it for what I do these days, but more average over my whole life since I am coding C++. Although it's not even that much change, except that I coded longer and more. Try to remember. Yeah, pretty much. I wake up and then I stay in bed until I feel like actually getting up. And then I immediately sit behind my PC and start coding. And I continue doing that until I guess I feel a bit hungry or something, or thirsty. Then I eat something, and I eat that behind my PC. So I get it, or let's say if my no, I think that a lot of the decades or the years, I must say, I actually started with eating breakfast. Maybe I don't do that these days anymore. I just get up and sit behind my PC, and I cannot remember if I really started to eat. I mean, I can't even imagine that I would do anything else than sit behind my PC. immediately out of bed. And but if I eat breakfast, I also eat my breakfast behind my PC. I eat everything behind my PC. So I make breakfast and I eat it behind my PC. If I make dinner, I eat it behind my PC. I've done that for as long as I can remember, many decades. I don't need a table for eating. I just do that here. And I don't have a television. I hate radio. So I listen to music on headphones. I've done that also for the longest possible time. And I only listen to music without vocals. So I like techno or trance. And then if I get really tired, I do something else behind my PC. Like I have been living on Second Life for a long time. I did that for 2 hours every day. And then I play chess online. But the rest is coding. Except when I went to the chess club. Like once a week I would go in the evening to a chess club. And for a very long time I also played chess in the city every day. Actually. So then I would bike to the city or go with the metro to the city. I lived in Amsterdam then. And then I would bike back, which is like 40 minutes fast biking every day. So I eat microwave dishes almost exclusively. Mostly because before I lived where I live now, I couldn't put down my headphones because I'm very sensitive to sound. And I would, as soon as I took off my headphones, I would hear something from the neighbors or something. So I had my headphones on and I wanted to sit in front of my PC. Then if I had to eat, I would only get up very quickly to put something in a microwave and then sit behind my PC again. And then 6 minutes later or 5 minutes later, when it would be hot, I would put it quickly on a plate and bring that to my PC again and then put my headphones on again and then eat there. The point being, my life is for a very, very, very large part sitting behind my PC. That is extremely unhealthy. So the only way you can do that is if you are reasonably healthy. I've always been slender and athletic, despite sitting so much. When I was 18, I was 60 kilograms, 60.0. And when I was 30, I was still 60.0 kilograms. And then I stopped measuring until I was, I don't know, 45, say. And then I noticed in the, can you imagine? I noticed for the first time that I had gained weight, or at least didn't look slender at all anymore, in the window of the door that I could see from sitting behind my PC. So I was looking to the side, sitting behind my PC, and I was thinking, oh my God, you can see my stomach. And then I measured myself again, and then I was 72 kilograms. So basically 12 kilograms more heavy than I was when I was 18. And that was just the result of eating a lot of chips, which was not good, of course, but kind of tried to stop with that after that. Despite getting older and older, it gets harder and harder not to get a fat belly and stuff. So at some point I was 75 kilograms, which was horrifying. So then I lost weight until I was 68. And then I gained weight again till 72 again. And now I joined the fitness and I'm trying to lose weight again. Currently I'm at 69.6. I wanted to go at least as far down as 68 kilograms, but maybe even down to my brother is 2 years older and he's still 60 kilograms. It's just possible. I think you managed to come up with a question that's more on topical with regard to C++. I knew my answer would help. Yeah, well, they could code, C with classes. I think most coders can't code, even professional coders. So people that are actually being paid for coding and they code in C++, they often make me roll my eyes. I think my goal in every program has always been that I want to write code that is very flexible and maintainable. It must be such that if it compiles, it must work, which means that if you try to do something that is wrong, that it shouldn't compile. If you get what I mean. So you write a library, and mostly I wrote libraries, not really programs. If you try to abuse the library, then it shouldn't even compile. If that is absolutely not possible, then it should assert, and not once a day or sometimes, but immediately. Like you just do it wrong, so it must assert. So if there is something that how do you call that in English? I'm getting so old, man. I just can't really remember words a lot. What the fuck is that word? A premise, I think. I'm not sure if I pronounced it right. So that is something that is assumed to be true in the code. And doing something wrong means that, say, you were the state of the correlation between objects. I mean, the state of a single object, a single class, well, a single object, then of course, when it is a state, must be consistent, as they call it, as soon as every thread left every member function of that object. While you are executing a member function, it can temporarily be inconsistent. But normally I think you should not call more than one member function at the same time. If you have, if you're doing multi-thread. But certainly, if you call a member function and the thing hangs on certain premises, how do you call that? Then at the moment you enter a member function, those assumptions must hold. So if during the execution of a member function you break it temporarily, then it's definitely not possible to have another thread call another member function at the same time. So in general, it's just one thread per object, I think, at a time. It's the right way. But you don't want to block a thread. I mean, I think that blocking threads is a very bad habit, so this is bad. So you would think I can just lock a mutex per object and then call a member function and then unlock it again when I leave the member function. That would stop all other threads to call any other member function. But that's not very efficient, right? So I wrote a library, which took me 20 years of my life, that does this in an efficient way. You have an object, and the object runs, as it were. I call it a task. And that works as follows. You just get a thread from a thread pool. The task knows what the next thing is that it has to run. And then it's removed from the task queue at the moment it's being run. So no other thread will run it. It's just really purely a one thread at a time object without logging mutex. And I think that's the right way to do it. But okay, while we're talking about the robustness, so my code in general was like if you have say a very large number of code lines, several 10,000s or 100,000, and then you make up a new feature, or you have a new idea, or you want to extend it or change something or do factorization. So you make really big changes, right? It's like you almost rewrite the whole thing. And you just start somewhere. You have an idea. So what I do, I just change one class. I want this class to work like this. Then after that, it doesn't work anymore, of course, because I just changed that one class and the rest doesn't know about it. But my code doesn't compile anymore because it doesn't work, right? So I just change one class and then I start compiling. And then the compiler tells me, hey, there's a problem here, there's a problem there, there's a problem this, and it forces me to change the rest. And by the time it compiles again, it works again with the big change. That's what I call robust. You can just start making changes, and there is almost no danger that you will end up with a buggy program that seems to work but doesn't. And if you are able to write like that, then you're a good coder, I think. And I know professionals that they write houses of cards. You know, it's just, if you change one line, everything breaks in 5 other places. You just one bug fix, it reduces a few other bugs. It's completely unmaintainable. So if you look at code and I think, oh my God, code duplication, don't have any code duplication. 0. You really don't want to have that. And programs should not rely on knowing the documentation of the code. They should enforce the documentation of the code. It should not be possible to use it in the wrong way. Oh well. So let's talk about code duplication. So here we have the problem that this block of code uses white to move nodes type and then the considerator for iter. But this must be black nodes type considerator, because that's what that is returning. Thus, this is graph black to move nodes type considerator. While this was white to move nodes, this assignment doesn't work. I mean, it is defined as white, so this is definitely not going to compile. And I can say, okay, then I need a different iter, and iter here I can just create a new iter with the correct type. But then I can't use this code here, of course, because this iter is that iter. This is just simply, sorry, the code, yeah, this is the loop here. So what most people will do is just duplicate this code, so copy it and then paste it in again, and then we have it twice, and then alternate. In this code you have white and black, and in that code you have black and white, and then it will work. But I'm really against that, because I think code duplication is so bad. You don't want it. So I started thinking about how can I keep this as it is and still have it working while the types are different. Now, one possibility would be, I guess, to use a type that can be one of two types, and that is called, and I don't use that very often, I say, but C++ has a type that is, actually I never used it, so I'm struggling to think of what the name was. And I can't think of it as usual. Now AI comes in. I can ask a name. I can ask a question to AI, and it will definitely know. I'm going to try to go back to DeepSeek. Why does DeepSeek not work? What, does it load again? They are back. Okay, cool. Okay, I'll see you. So in C++, there is a type that can contain more than one other type. I forgot the name. No. No. Damn it. Variant, yes. That was the one. You think DeepSeek can code C++? I mean, it already explained this, so maybe it's even able to fix my code then. Let's try that. Yeah. I have my Discord server, usually very reachable on the server. I'll give you an invite link. The hell, Discord doesn't react on the close this window button. Did I move to all of Discord? Okay, but this is really stupid. Something that motivates you. I usually just want to do something and then I start. These days, I mean, of course, when I started coding, when I started coding, I was 12. There were hardly computers. There were not even PCs. That makes a big difference as well. I mean, I think that if now I grew up with everything there is now, maybe I would have been, yeah, what is the word? Overwhelmed. Whoa, I remember the word. I could find it. Maybe I would have been overwhelmed as well. There's so much to choose from. But back then we had a few kilobytes of RAM and a very slow CPU. So very soon I wanted to learn assembly because everything was too slow. One of my first programs was a program that printed all prime numbers till 256, I think. I invented the sieve of Eratosthenes myself, because it seems logical to do it like that. And then I wrote a program for that. And it worked. Well, I returned to calculating prime numbers during my whole life, basically. So every few years, I just try to improve upon it. And not that long ago, so maybe 2 years ago at most, I was like, I'm gonna finish that once and for all. So I wrote the most insane, fastest prime generator that you can imagine. And now I consider that project finished. And it's on GitHub. So that project is like way over your head because, well, not for beginners. But you can write a very, very simple version of, say, 100 lines of code instead of this insanity. This one generates all primes under 1 trillion. Or what is this? A million, billion, trillion, right? Using only 24 gigabytes of RAM. Using all CPUs. Maybe you can even make a faster one by using the GPU. This is only using the CPU. Yeah, GPU wouldn't be C++ anymore, right? You have to use CUDA and stuff like that. Tone Depzal. I'm just pronouncing it on Dutch, otherwise I'll fail anyway. Tone Depzal in Dutch. This is the first time I see your channel, but can I ask you how you practice data structures and algorithms? I don't. Now, most arrogant, well, probably very arrogant sounding answer, but it's the truth, is, well, I'm now so old that it's definitely no longer the case, but I used to be a genius, basically, so I've always been so convinced that I knew things better than other people that I invented everything myself. So the way you formulate it, it sounds like you want to learn algorithms as if you can't invent one yourself. So, and I don't begin. I don't even try to invent my own algorithm. The only way to do something efficiently is by look up what is the best algorithm made up by someone else, and then I'll apply that. I've always been fascinated by solving the puzzle. As a lot more than writing the program. So, for example, my prime generator. I invented the sieve of Eratosthenes myself. I wasn't like, oh, I want to write a program that prints prime numbers. Well, let's look up how people do that. When I got a Rubik's Cube, I wasn't like, oh, let's look up how to solve the Rubik's Cube. No, I solved it myself. And that's the same for algorithms. That's why I like programming, because you have a problem and you can solve it. And I much rather try to solve it myself. And I'm not doing bad, I think. And also, it's the only way to ever get a better algorithm than exists. If you learn all algorithms and you believe that it can't get any better, and then at some point you think, well, maybe I could think of something that is better, then you probably won't, because you're already fixated on that other solution. That was at least my idea. I mean, in by far most things that I did that were brilliant already existed. It has to be admitted. I mean, I don't think you can get any faster than the sieve of Eratosthenes or any other thing that I did that I invented myself. And then even if it was brilliant that I did discover it, and I'm not talking only about the sieve, but many things. Basically almost already existed. It is very, very difficult to do something new. So if you want to save time and not want to have the joy of solving the puzzle yourself, then it's not a bad idea to just learn existing algorithms, I guess. But it seems very boring to me. Well, this is also actually an example. I'm just quoting this because I thought of a way to implement it to my own algorithm. Well, this absolutely is some graph algorithm, existing graph algorithm for this. I could ask an AI how this is done. How to find the. No, I don't know. I have to think about how to describe it in English, but. Probably can do that, and then it would maybe tell me that it has this or that name. And what I found out now probably also already exists and has a name. But yeah, where's the fun on that? Wow, thank you. I'm from the Netherlands. Some people tell me that I do have a Dutch accent. Probably not as bad as most Dutch people, but still. Nee, ik ben hartstikke Nederlander. Ik zou dit ook in het Nederlands kunnen doen, but that's the only other language I speak as well. I can understand German. I don't really speak it. And no other languages. I tried to count in 10 in a few languages. Like I think I knew Japanese, but probably pronouncing it completely wrong. It's I did karate, and then they count in Japanese, like if you do say sit-ups and so. But so I pronounce it the way my Dutch teacher was pronouncing it. And I doubt that is the correct way Japanese people pronounce it. And I did Spanish, I think, and Italian, and of course German and Dutch and English. not even that many more. Maybe I tried to count to 10 just because I wanted to do from friends that I had. I had a friend who was Polish, Turkish, of course, Arabic. Although I don't think I really asked all of them to teach me how. I can't. I don't even know how to say 1, 2, 3 in Arabic. So I never asked them, I think. And the pseudo. Oh yeah. I don't know why you think it is the case. People say I have a nice voice. Maybe that's it, or maybe it's because I'm not screaming like most people. If you look at the average YouTuber that tries to get 1 million viewers or subscribers, they talk in a rather unnatural way, I think. I have quite some experience with talking in a microphone. So I started electronics hobby when I was 7, and I started to build a transmitter for the radio when I was 13 or 14. And then I have been a radio pirate for I don't know, a long time, more than 10 years. And I did that also every day. At some point, my electronics was a larger hobby for me than computers during my teenage time. So all my friends were online, and I would just sit behind, not behind the PC, but behind my electronic table with the radio and the transmitter, of course, and a cassette tape to play the music. But I would mostly just chat with my friends. This is very much the same situation. I don't have a webcam, so it's very much the same situation. I can basically close my eyes to concentrate on finding the right words and talk like that. Although the words come more difficult these days. When I was younger, I would sometimes I really had to concentrate hard, but then I could keep up in real time with finding the right words before I needed them in the sentence. So usually when I build a sentence, I know the keywords, the most important words, and you can already start a sentence. Sounds a lot like how the AI is doing it. But yeah, I guess so. So you want to say something, you know what you want to say in terms of some abstract ideas, and then you can find the less often used words that you're going to have to use, and then build a sentence around it. And then at some point I start talking, and in the meantime you still construct the sentence, and then usually I was able to find the correct word before I got there, but these days it's more and more happens that you just start the sentence and then you get to that word and the word is still not there. Well, the concept, the idea, the abstract idea is in my head. Otherwise, why would I even have started that sentence? I don't really think in words. I've always said. But it's really a translation step that is required before I can express myself in a language. I would say C++ only because I've done C++ so much more than the rest. But I started in BASIC, I think, and then combined with, quickly also assembly. And there wasn't much else, I think. That was GFA Basic, actually. It is not real Basic. GFA Basic doesn't even have line numbers. It's more like Pascal. But It was called Basic. And then I learned, when I was at the university, I learned Pascal and a bit of Fortran. Just 1 week Fortran. I wouldn't know anything anymore now. And I learned several assembly languages. And I learned C quite early on, but that was during a time that if you made a single mistake, so you wrote a program that had a bug, the bug then crashed your program, but that wasn't caught. CPU didn't know anything about. There were no traps, signals, or anything, so it would just start doing nonsense and keep running. It wouldn't stop. You would just usually end up in a loop where you overrode the whole memory, everything, including because the RAM would also include the whole operating system and your screen memory. GPUs didn't exist, let alone separate video cards. So usually when I was coding in C and I made a single mistake, then that would become apparent because my screen would suddenly turn into noise or completely white or something like that. And then I had to reboot the computer, reload the operating system from cassette tape. So I kind of gave up on C. While this GFA Basic, that was an interpreted language, so that did not have that. You could just make a mistake and then it would not crash the PC. But I picked up C later. I think when I was 26, I started coding C again. And I learned networking. And I use C for IRC, Internet Relay Chat, which I improved greatly, if I say so myself, in terms of the protocol. So I worked on the IRC daemon of Undernet for 7 years. And then I learned C++, and I never looked back. When I learned C++, I was like, oh my god, this is how I think. This is how I code, try to code in C. It was so good. I never had to get used to it. It was more like wow, why did I not discover this before? I never coded in C again. I don't see the point in using my variant here already, really. What is this? visit. Standard visit. I never used standard visit before. Visit passing a lambda, and we know lambdas. Let me look up what it is. Applies the visitor v, a callable, that's our lambda I guess, that can be called with any combination of types from variants. Combination of types? You can pass more than, you can pass multiple variants, okay. To the variance values. Given variant basis as declaration type as variant standard forward variance value, a pack of size of variance types, invoke v as if by invoke standard forward visitor v, standard get indices standard forward variant basis value. Indices is an as variant values index ... Yeah, we only have one argument, so this whole ellipsis stuff is not relevant. It just makes it very hard to read. I have no clue what it's doing, you know that? These overloads participate in overload resolution only if every type in variant basis is a valid type. If the expression denoted by invoke or invoke arts in C+20 is invalid, or the result of invoke or invoke arts in C+20 have different types or value categories for different indices, the program is ill-formed. This is 100% new for me. I guess I never use standard visit, or yeah, I used standard variant before, but without using standard visit, so not really, I guess. What the hell is this doing, man? So if you have a lambda with an auto, it's basically a template to this code duplication, in the sense that you have multiple functions being generated, but it's not code duplication in terms of well, literally, this block only exists once, right? If you make a typo, it's everywhere, and if you fix it, it's fixed for all of them, all the different variants. What the hell? Of this lambda as a function of the argument type. So I think that what this does is that it calls, so say you have argument can be of 4 different types, like here, then this generates 4 functions, and depending on the type of argument, it will call one or the other, which would then be the T, declaration type of argument. And then they split it up anyway, because, well, one of the function that the lambdas that is generated will contain this line, and the next one will only contain this line, and the next one only contain this line, and the next one only contain this line. So we have 4 functions where each one has one standard out, so standard cout line. The code duplication is still there, because this part is still repeated, more or less. The text is different, but okay, this part is also repeated. So they're cheating a little bit, okay. Nevertheless, since you're calling different functions, they can have different return types. And then I guess the return type of this standard visit is equal to the return type of the thing that's actually being called, which is not demonstrated here, because nothing is being done with what standard visit is returning. Oh, here's one. Suppose that the v is filled in for argument, and then depending on the type of v, it will call one of the generated functions generated as assembly, if you get what I mean. And they have different, each of those functions has a different return type, namely the value type, which is the type of v. So, well, yeah, maybe the underlying type, because the value t is the standard variant. But it returns a variant, standard variant, but for containing the type that is being returned. I think you still need instantiations. That's the right word. You still need 4 different instantiations of this function, and it manages to put that back into a standard variant. confusing like hell, I would say. So applying that here, that means that this now works for 2 different types of iter, as long as we return. No, we return always the same type actually. But it works for any standard variant, the standard visit, I suppose. Yeah, no. Difficult. And then, if I really wanted to understand how a standard visit works, and I feel I have no time for that, but that's what a beginner should do, is you open a new file, create a hello world, and then you start playing with standard visit. And you tried everything out, including all possible compile errors and thingies. And at some point you get it. You get the picture. Oh, that's how it works. I don't want to do that. I just want to copy what I got here from the AI, which is showing very clearly how bad an AI is. Because I didn't have the AI, and okay, I would probably not have learned about standard visit at all. So that's a plus. But you're also very quickly inclined to just copy it and then still learn nothing, like I'm doing now. Apparently a standard visit here is needed as well, is that true? Oh yeah, of course. I mean, it's just, this line is a single instantiation of this line, but it has 2 types, so there must be 2 instantiations of this line. So the only way to do that is by using a standard visit. Okay, let me see if I can figure out how to write this one then, without looking at the code of the AI. So since iter has 2 different types, then we must have 2 instantiations of this line, and that can only be achieved by using standard visit, but that would be around that, and then now it returns a standard variant, right? One or another type. So this must be a standard variant. I doubt you can use, well, maybe you can do a vector of a variant. Probably. No, we can't. It has to be a standard variant that is returned from the visitor, I think. Okay, I'm gonna peek if that's correct. Oh, it uses auto. Yeah, that is a sneaky way to get that type. But that is then a standard variant, right? So it just use auto. This is now a standard variant of a standard vector of one type and a standard vector of the other type. Well, I'm just going to type it in full instead of using auto. So we have a standard variant. Let's say put white first, just like here, and then just either this type or that type. Where the first one is, yeah, sorry, I want black first. What is the argument of my visit thing? Just auto. Yeah, auto to get the template thing out of it. No, this would be my guess. And then we can change this stance variant into auto. Because that's what the stance visit is going to return. Which, if that works out, makes me understand stance visit a little bit better. You have auto child position is standard visits, calling a lambda, comma iter. So far so good, but in between I have something that's a lot smaller. What? It does a decay type on the declaration type of iterator. And then use an if const expression to either use this type or the other type. Why? That's bullshit. If iter is what it is, then this has that type. No need to cast it. Therefore, no need to know it. So you can just return this in both cases, in all cases actually. Which means we don't need iter types, which means that my implementation is better. My implementation compiles and the AI once again showed that it doesn't know anything. And I'm glad I tried this myself instead of just copying it. Let's hope it does compile. Use of undeclared identifier initial position. Oh fuck. New template named the variant. Where is the variant defined? This one doesn't give me the include. Very nice. Just variant. Error static insertion failed due to requirement visit read types match. And that visit requires the visitor to have the same return type for all alternatives of a variant. So maybe what I tried did not work. It's complaining about the return type. What if I just tell it what the return type is? Because then I get probably a better error. No member named size in standard variant, standard vector. Child position size. Oh boy. So we did get past this thing now. Well, if this is a standard variant, why can I not call size on it? Okay, I'm gonna go back to the AI and ask if this is doing the same thing. Well, I'm just randomly using DeepSeek now, but I think I picked it subconsciously because the answers are shorter. If you ask something to Gemini, then it insists on giving you 3 pages, even if the answer is 1 line. Well, this also goes on and on and on, actually. That's okay. This answers my question. And I guess I can just ignore the rest. Maybe it's more structured. It's clearer where it says stuff that I can ignore. I like short answers. I wouldn't ask a question if it had a long answer, except for code. I don't understand this, however. Well, I understand it vaguely. So this returns a standard variant. And as we noted, the lambda must explicitly declare the return type because of different return times, as the compiler said, and that's why I added the return type explicitly. Which then requires later standard visit or standard getIf to extract the correct vector. Which is indeed the problem right now, because that's why this is not compiling. And this won't also not compile. While if child positions would just be a standard vector, then this would of course just compile. However, how can it possibly be a standard vector? Of a single type. This is impossible. Cannot, even if you use auto can only result in a single type in the end. And we need two instantiations for everything. So either the whole code block is going to instantiate it twice, which I don't believe. That's only what you pass to standard visit. But okay, it says, my version, if const expression inside lambda returns a single standard vector, no variant wrapper. I mean, it's just not possible. I'm not talking about that auto. To understand this, by using auto here on the lambda, it becomes a template. Therefore, you can return, using if const expression, different types. And then you just get different functions, so multiple instantiations for that template. And then depending on which one you use, it returns a different type. But the caller can only accept one type. Auto outside resolves to the correct type. Auto child does not always resolve to the same type. What? Compiler generates two versions of the lambda, one for each iterator type. Depending on which lambda runs, child positions gets the correct vector type. How is that possible? What? How the hell is that possible? This is not an example. I mean, I understand this, that it is. I mean, no. What? I think the AI is wrong, because it's not possible. I don't believe it. Well, I'll give it a try, but come on, impossible. Impossible. Yeah, I just get the same error, see? So it's just full of bullshit, as usual. Maybe we should ask another AI. Claude is better at C++. So maybe that will give me something that makes sense. Yeah, it's hardly worth the code duplication avoiding thing here. But well, at least we learned something new. Sorry, there's a lot there. So auto. This is not necessary because it is int for every variant, but well, might as well add it. Okay, maybe not. So now this is a variant, so you need to use a visitor to get size. I guess that means I have to use here standard visit. Let's see if you get past that one line now. Yep. Yeah, now how to implement that one then? Guess the should get board, but now we have to pass I as well. How does that work? Oh, well, can you not pass a non variant to standard visit? Can you not do that? Like, and the standard visit that returns no return type. Something, comma, and then the variant, which is in this case again that, just like here. And then I could return a board pointer or just a board. Or an iterator. Iterator would be a variant again. Let's not do that. I'm gonna pass I as well, and then try to create and get board lambda, and then it should return the board, which is first thing. So then we'll just append that to it. That should work. And I can't type. Get board. Get board is a lambda taking an variant, child positions, and then I guess that we just can pass I here, and that then should return this, right? And I want that to be a board iterator. Sorry, a board reference, not a board. Let's add this for to check if indeed we get a board reference instead of just a board. Make chunk frame, no, that doesn't work. Apparently that is not how it works. Oh, it just passed I to the lambda itself. Then I cannot define it before the I exists. Guess not, of course. So I must be captured. By the lambda, and then I is not changed, so I might as well copy it. I think I is just an integer. Yep. I'm also happy with the cons reference, I suppose. And then you have to do that again here. It's kind of annoying. Could use a single I. Maybe it's kind of ridiculous to do that, but And this gets what first? Iterator first. It's also a get board and different. Well, I get a pointer, so let's call it get board pointer. Is this working? Probably not. Is it working? I don't know. Probably not. The problem is that we have an I and then this captures it by value. With a suppose we're just creating the lambda right there, which might just capture the I by value. That is uninitialized. So then it's totally not going to do anything that we want. Now I can capture it by reference and then it would work. Let's try that. No, it's just by reference, whatever. But still a bit silly, isn't it? I mean, yeah. Again, same error. Start to doubt if making the lambdas externally is even a good thing. Maybe I'm just not used to a standard visit with lambdas in it. Thought it was a bit messy. But yeah, why would I define this thing up there? Also have to capture I and stuff, so nah. Capturing I. Well, that doesn't work. Made an 11 ply. Oh, actually, oh, no, this is on best play. Oh, never mind. Yeah, that might be 11. Yeah, cool. Well, if the number of ply is correct, then I can also print who is to move. And I want to know which is, how many ply each of these are actually. So this is made in 5, but that is impossible. That is a 5 ply. I mean, it's either still made or white is to move, in which case it would be an odd number of ply. That's correct. But it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ply. Yes, yes, it is 5 ply. Very good. So if this is made in 5 ply, then if I print the number of ply that each of these positions is, and there is only one that is made in 4 ply, namely this one, number 8. I can start it again and just type 8 and see that then it is 4 ply instead of 12. Let's add that prints who is to move, and then also the number of ply for those. Yeah, so... Oh, this is unknown. That's weird. All of them. I guess the reason is that with black to move, it's still made. So it's never made, basically. Yeah, that's the reason. I should probably just print stalemate in. And this is also a draw. Just black and take the rook, take the rook, take the rook. Stalemate, 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 stalemate. That's not stalemate. This is made in 12 ply. Black has a move. Okay. So we get -1. Yeah, well, okay. Could change that and then print if it is draw or stalemate. Good. I am going to. What a horrible music. Starting to be a lot of visitors, of course. If I get that, can I just get the classification first, and then apply on that? Yeah, maybe that's better. Board is one thing. You can get classification. Nou ja, is stalemate en is draw. Can it be something else than stalemate, which is also a draw, by the way, or mate? Can be nothing, but it's a mate in. Oh, is mate is mate. Wait a minute, we don't want to do that. If it is a draw, we want to print this if it is not a draw, basically. Is that nonsense? Oh, I don't even know that. Arg. No, I have to do it like this, I think. If it is a stalemate, then we print that it is a stalemate. else, if it is a draw, then we print that it is a draw. Otherwise it's made in so and so many. But draw is actually not marked as such. I think I should just test if I don't even need to check if it is an actual draw. No, I think just if ply equals -1. Something is very wrong. I don't know what yet, but made in -1 ply. How the hell is that printed? Ply is something else. Ply is not what I thought it was. Mickey. Great. So yeah, this is still my black cannot move. And this is a draw because black can take the rook. This is made in 12, made in 4, made in 6, and made in 10. How the hell can that be longer? Oh, black totally escapes. Yeah. Yeah. So the fastest way to give mate here is moving the rook from here to there, which I agree with as a chess player. And then black has only one move, after which it is made in 3 ply, and now it is made in 2 ply. Is it? This was made in 3 ply. I do a move. No, I pick it. So the result is still made in 3 ply after black moved. Now is white to move. And then white to move has a 2 ply move. Or that one. Or that one. Or that one. There's 4 moves that are reaching mate. Unsurprisingly. You can either move the king, defend the rook, or we can move the rook away to 3 different places. Oh, let's pick 0. Made in 1 ply. If we do this, right? No, yeah, but black is still moved. Black has no option. And now you can make a blunder and give stalemate. Or you can give mate from here. Move the rook there. I'm looking for it. Here, made in 0 ply. Okay. So maybe I should replace this one as well with something that is slightly nicer. Mate 5. Yeah. Now it could print you won and then exit the game, exit the program. Because there's absolutely nothing you can do now. I can type a number in and it crashes. Might as well exit normally. So if there's nothing to print, like this stuff, then we should do that. Meaning nothing to print, meaning what? Child positions are empty, right? So if child positions empty, meaning there are no moves, then we should break out of this after printing something. And that is the end of the program. Yes. Well, the final result is I need to get the classification on the current position, I suppose. Except that we want to just get classification, and well, from a variant, which is iter in this case. There should be no other options. But well. No boxes. But, if I break out of this, or it's just flushed here. It's flushed here. Okay, it's already flushed. Five. Cool. Now we can make black automatically play by doing the move with the highest number of ply, or draw, or stalemate. That giving check here is the lowest number of ply apart from this one. It's surprising. So the king comes closer, defending the rook. That's the best move. Doesn't matter where we go. Now we have to move back? What? Why? My idea is just run away as fast as you can. This is a draw. It should be a draw. There's no way you can stop me from running or stepping over the edge. So I just go here. How is this made in 7 ply? It's like no way. Oh, that's because while counting the ply, we are not allowed yet. That's what was wrong. Yeah, to step over the edge. Ah, okay. So it's just not correct. Black is going to do 2, which would be made in 7 ply, because we have this move. King comes closer. But that assumes that the king must do a move and is not allowed to step out of the board. And indeed we are not allowed to step out of the board, but hey, it is a draw. Let's see. If I do actually 4, what do we get then? Yeah, see, there's only one move going that way. Ha ha. As if it is a real edge. Yeah, but that's not what I wanted. So black could step off the board all this time, but it doesn't. It has to go up. And then we just do a rook move. And it has to go up again. And then we can give mate. Let's go eat. Let's see what I still need to fix now. If black is able to step off the board, that is definitely a draw. That is made in infinite, so something went wrong there. I think I know how to solve it, but I'm going to eat first.